Welcome back to my channel with another deck profile. This time we are reviewing one of my favorite decks, and that is level 10 trains. And this is specifically a level 10 train deck. Some people play the infinite track combo, and this is just pure trains with some extra combo support with power of the elements. So let's check it out. So to start us off, we have heavy freight train Derek Crane. This card is one of the strongest cards in the deck, and it says when an earth machine type monster is summoned, so normal or special summoned, you can special summon this card from your hand, but its attack and defense are halved, which doesn't matter that much because you use it for your XZ summon. And when this card is detached from a XZ card, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it, so a very strong card. The next card on the list is Super Express Bullet Train. This card can be special summoned when you control at least one Earth Machine type monster. So you can have a machine monster, special summon this card, special summon Freight Train, and go ham my king. The next card on the list, oh by the way, also when this card is in your graveyard, you at the end phase when it is sent there, you can target one machine monster, accept itself, and bounce it back to the hand for more follow-up plays. Our next card is a Night Express Knight. This card makes it so you can just normal summon him for free, but its attack is 0, so keep that in mind. But you can normal summon, special summon Freight Train, or special summon the Express Bullet Train at the end. Our next card is Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. This card says when it is normal or special summoned, you can special summon from your graveyard one machine monster. His second effect says you can target one card on the field, then you can choose another card on the field that is the targeted card or itself, and change the levels of the card you targeted as second. So for instance, when I normal summon this card, I special summon Night Express Knight from my graveyard. I target Night Express Knight, and then I target this card, so they are both 10 now. Or I can target this card, target him again, and he becomes 4, and you can exceed 4. So that's how you have to see it. Our next card is a spell card called Urgent Schedule. This card says, so it's a quick play spell card that says that when your opponent controls more monsters, you can special summon one level 4 or lower machine monster and one level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck, but their effects are negated. They are just there to give yourself some extra monsters, which is very strong. When this face down card is destroyed, you can add a level 10 machine monsters from your deck to your hand, so it's still something. Our next card is Revolving Switchyard. This card is not that great for its first effect, but it is very good for its second effect. His first effect says, when a level 10 machine type monster is special summoned, your opponent takes no battle damage when you activate the second effect, and you can special summon from your hand another machine type monster. But the second effect says, you can discard one card and add a one level 10 machine type monster from your deck to your hand, so you have more plays, and we're used for its second effect. Our next engine that isn't trains is MACHINA. MACHINA Citadel, MACHINA Fortress. These two are very strong cards. MACHINA Citadel is a very strong card that can be summoned only by a card effect. It has a quick effect where you can destroy a card you control, and then your opponent destroys all his monsters with the targeted monster's attack points. So this card is 3k, you can target itself, it gets destroyed, then destroy every monster under 3k. His second effect says when a monster you control is destroyed, or your face-up monster you control is destroyed, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, which is a very strong effect. MACHINA Fortress says you can discard cards that are 10 or more to special summon this card. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can destroy one card on the field, and when this card is targeted with a monster effect, you can look at your opponent's hand and discard one card before the effect resolved of the targeted monster. So it's a very strong card, but mostly it's used to get MACHINA Citadel in the graveyard. Our searches for these two cards are two MACHINA Redeployments. you can discard one card and then search to Machina monsters from your deck. His second effect is you can discard one Machina card and then search for 2 Machina cards, so that can be also spell or trap cards. But they're mostly used to just search these cards and get more cards in the graveyard. Next up is MACHINA METALCRUNCHER. This card, when it says, when it is normal or special summoned, you can review 3 machine type monsters from your deck, well, earth machine type monsters from your deck. Your opponent picks one, and that one is added to your hand. So it's just an extra extender if you need it. But these Machina cards are not my favorite, and I think you can better use hand traps when you have them instead of these cards. Follow up are Machina GEARFRAME, just to search for more Machina cards. I wouldn't play them anymore. I think they are not that great in this type of deck. I think you rather play more board breakers or more hand traps. We have one Machina UNCLASPARE just to search off of this card, because this card says when it is normal summoned, you can search a Machina card. So when you search this card, it can be special summoned, and then you can dump a card, like Express Bullet Train, to activate this second effect. Next up, this is the sauce, creme de la creme of this deck, are the new support of the power of the elements are Vernisylph. So our first Vernisylph is Vernisylph of the Thawing Mountains. This card is amazing. You can discard one card and itself, and then you can special summon one earth monster from your grave. Well, first you draw a card, and then you can special summon an earth monster from your graveyard. So say for instance, you activate effect, you discard this card, they go both to the graveyard, you draw a card, and then you can special summon this card, which triggers this card if you have it in your hand. So this is very crazy to me. Our next Vernisylph is Vernisylph of the Flowering Hills. This card, you can discard this card. You can discard this card, my apologies. And then you can search for any Vernisylph card. So it can be the mountain, or it can be any spell or trap card, that I do not run any trap cards, but it can be happened. And then you can special summon again one earth monster from your graveyard. Keep in mind, when you use these effects, you cannot use any other effects of monsters that are not earth. Our next card is Vernisylph, Awakening of the Forest. This card says, when you use its effect, you can dump a card from your deck to the graveyard, and then you can special summon a monster. So you dump this card, and then you can special summon a earth monster that is not the name you dumped, so keep that in mind. So it's mostly used for the discard that you use. Our next card is Vernisylph of the Flowering Fields. This card is not the best card, but I like the discard mechanic. So what you can do is you can use its effect, then you can add an earth card in your graveyard back to your hand, and then you can special summon a earth monster from your graveyard. Next Vernisylph card is a Corolla, because Corolla makes all your other cards Vernisylph. Now let me tell you another effect that the Vernisylph cards have. This card doesn't have any. This Vernisylph card makes it so all your Vernisylph cards cannot be destroyed by your opponent. This card doubles the attack of one Vernisylph card, and this card makes it that a Vernisylph card can attack twice. So when you have your big level 10 or rank 10 machine type monsters, they can attack twice, or they cannot be destroyed, or their attack is doubled. But keep in mind, these cards have to be on the field to activate their effects, but it's still something else. Also, this card makes it so you do not have to discard a other card to resolve this effect. For our spell lineup, I play one Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborn is very strong. You can just special summon from your graveyard and level 10 that you dumped with all the Vernisylph cards or all the other cards that you search. I play 3 Dark Hole for all the destructions that you have of monsters. These are better as Raigeki, but Raigeki is too expensive. Cheaper cards, right? We're all budget players here. And I ended off with 1 Change of Heart. Most of the time these spell cards are like just to bait out spell negates, but if they don't have any, Dark Hole is an amazing board. So now we're off to the rank 10 cards. So first off, we have Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Juggernaut, Liebe. This card is amazing. you can summon this card with or 2 level 12s, which you won't use ever in this deck. When you have a rank 10 Xyz monster, you can just overlay this card on top of it. And what this card says as your boss monster, you can detach one card. This card gains 2000 attack and 2000 defense, and then this card can attack up to the times of materials on this card +1. So most of the time you have one card on it to activate this effect, and then it becomes a 6000 that can attack twice. But keep in mind, you can only attack one specific card at a time, so you cannot attack one monster 2 times. Next up is 2 Super Dreadnought Real Cannon Gustav Max. I only have one right now because I have the other 2 lingering somewhere, but you play 2 of this card because this card is amazing. You can overlay 2 level 10s, discard a card, deal 2000 damage. So when you remove Deckprofile, destroy a card, do 2000 damage to your opponent, summon this card on top of it, detach, then this card can attack twice, because you always have another card underneath it, and then you have 6000 damage, so if you can attack face, it is a GG. I play one number 81 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Super Dora. This is mostly a turn 1 card. You can special summon this with 2 level 10s in defense. In your opponent's draw phase, you can activate its effect to, actually in his turn. You can detach a card, and this card is unaffected by all card effects for that turn, except its own effect, because you can target a machine type monster, and this is one machine type monster. This is a very strong card because it has 4000 defense, so your opponent cannot easily get around it. Maybe with kaijus, but nobody plays kaijus. Next up is the Sky Palace Gengar. This card is just 2 level 10 monsters. You can detach a card, then destroy one card on the field, and then deal 1000 damage to your opponent. It's mostly used for getting rid of cards, or when you do not have any other targets for 2 level 10s. It's mostly for there. Keep in mind, this card is an earth card, so when you use a Vernisylph card, you can, this is a wind, my apologies. So you cannot use this effect when you use the effect of Vernisylph. Keep it in mind, please. Next up is Divine Arsenal Zeus. Of course, you can special summon this card with 2 level 12s. You don't use that much, but when an Xyz monster attacked, you can drop Zeus, and then you have a strong Zeus. You can detach 2 cards from this card, and then send all other cards on the field to the graveyard, which is very strong. It also has a second effect, is when this card is on the field, and another card of yours is destroyed, you can detach that card to this card. So it's a effect that nobody really uses anymore. Next up is Heavy Armored Train IRONWOLF. This card is a crazy card. I am doubting it to playing at 2, but I still have to deck test some more. But what this card says, you can make it with 2 level 4s, and then you can target one machine type monster you control. It can attack directly this turn. That's like crazy. So you can just deal 6000 damage instantly with Liebe. And it says when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a level 4 machine type monster from your deck to your hand. Our next rank 4 is number 70 Malevolent Sin. It is just a level 4 to get rid of a card if needed to. You can detach one card and banish one card your opponent controls until the end phase. Our next card is number 101 Silent Honor Arc. You can detach 2 materials from this card and then target one of your opponent's special summoned monsters and attach that card to this card. So you're just getting rid of another monster they control. Next up is number 41 Baguska the Terrible Tired Tapir. This card is more of a Mystic Mine stall card, where it says when this card is summoned in defense, all monsters that are summoned are now in defense and their effects are negated. And at your standby phase, you have to detach one card from this card, and when you cannot, this card is destroyed. Next up, Abyss Dweller. 2 level 4s. You can detach one card from this card, and nobody can activate card effects from the graveyard. Now for our 3 last cards, our link cards, I have BORRELSWORD Dragon. You sometimes, well, most of the times you have like 4 cards on the field, so you can make this bad boy and go for game if needed to. You can also use other 4 cards that are maybe way stronger, but they are also more expensive. I have 1 Pentastack for the piercing damage. You never know when you are going to need it. And our last card is Nightmare Phoenix. Oh, my apologies. Nightmare Phoenix. Just for back row removal, discard 1 card from your hand, then target 1 back row on the field and destroy it. And this is the deck profile. I hope you like the deck. When I have it updated and when I have found something more for these MACHINA cards, I will of course show it to you with an updated deck. So thank you all for watching and have a nice day.